One of the biggest sources of retirement income for many people is their company pension. It's the result of years of hard work and dedication and something you've earned. So you want to make sure you're getting what you're owed. But what if that doesn't happen? What are your options? Well, I am joined now by Michael Martinez, who is the president and founder of the Pension Group. Good to have you back, Michael.
Oh, great.
So when it comes to a company pension, I always thought that was the one thing that you really had little control over, but that's really not true.
Well, you know, in a sense, I don't know necessarily if you have control over it, but you need to understand the plan, how it's calculated, things along these lines. And oftentimes we'll find, pension errors that happen. And when people hear of a pension error, Robin, they think, oh, it's a few $1,000s. We recently just worked on 3 pension errors here locally. A $55,000 pension error we just uncovered, for a client. And you assume that the plan administrator or the employer would have the information correct. But again, since we work with so many people, we know what the numbers are supposed to look like, from that standpoint. So we questioned the plan administrator. We got they were telling us it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to get corrected. I contacted the employer, the person that's in charge of the retirement plan. Within 2 days, we got that corrected for my client so he could retire.
And Mike, let's talk about the decisions that people have to make for themselves regarding the pension. And we'll start with the forms of payment they choose. And there are 2 different kinds: single life annuity and joint and survivor options, or 2 things, I guess, they have to consider. So talk about these.
Well, I mean, those are options. And I'll just throw a number. Let's say that their lump sum pension is $800,000 as an example. And they have this option between taking the annuity from the company or taking that lump sum. So really the options is single life only, being married and whatnot. You're probably not going to choose the single life only because your spouse is going to whack you over the head.
Sure.
From that standpoint.
Right.
So that's probably not the best option, unless, you're just by yourself and that's, it's good for you. The second option is a joint option, and typically they'll do a 50, 75, or 100% depending on the plan. That's pretty much typical out there. But let's say you choose a joint 100% option. Let's say your pension's $4,000 on a monthly basis, and all our viewers are going to be different. They might be $2,000, might be $4,000, but for this example, we'll say it's $4,000 for single, and let's say it's $3,500 because they're going to reduce it for a joint life. So let's say it's $3,500. The situation happens is, it's going to pay you and your spouse a lifetime income, but what happens if you get hit by a Mack truck? Both of you in an accident, boom, you get hit by a Mack truck. Where's all that rest of that money go? Well, unfortunately, it doesn't go to your kids. You get, nothing passes on to your heirs, zero. So that's one of the big drawbacks when taking the annuity from the company, and a lot of people realize that. They've worked 20, 30, 40 years for some company, people that have retired, and the last thing they want to do is something happens to either themselves and or their spouse. They want that money to create a legacy for, for their family.
And how do you know what's best for you? Would it be best to sit down and talk to somebody who knows what they're doing, like you at the Pension Group, deciding where you should take your decisions?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's really what we do. We help. We never make the decision for people. We just really educate them on the process, because when you educate them, they'll make the decision that's right for them and their family.
Sure. And
really, the lump sum gives you the ability. You roll that money over. So if we use that $800,000 as an example versus $3,500 on a monthly basis, now we can generate guaranteed income with various programs that we have access to. Now you're in control of the asset. More importantly, if that same example happens where both you get hit by a Mack truck, then the remaining balance goes to your kids, and you're creating a legacy.
And a great place to start with that education, Mike, is on your website. You have something called the Retirement Readiness Kit, available for free for folks.
Correct, and they can download that, and it goes through the 10 most common pension errors. How these lump sums, how these segmented rates are affecting lump sums. We've had situations where back in 2014, people were losing as little as $30,000 in their lump sum, as high as $80,000 in 1 year, Robin. And this is something that a lot of people aren't aware of. We work with major telecom companies, automotive companies, from that standpoint, and we've seen people, maybe not make the best decision when it comes to the retirement plan. But again, that's the reason why people need to download this information. It's complimentary, of course. If they have an interest, they can set up a time with us by giving our office a call and set up an appointment.
Mike, I want to quickly let folks know when they can also hear you on the radio.
Yeah, we're on. We have 2 radio shows called Your Money Matters. Is our retirement radio, and we have 2 programs, one on QFM 96 from 7:30 to 8 o'clock on Sunday morning, as well as Sunday 95 from 8 to 8:30. And it's a great way we can educate people. We've had the opportunity to interview Cheap Truck. We just had Kenny Chesney on. So again, if the viewers out there want to hear more from some of the artists out there as
Yeah.
far as that. They can listen to that. But again, we tie in the retirement planning aspect of it, and you know, how we can help people, and we're getting, you know, obviously more and more people listening to the shows and calling in and setting up times to meet with us.
All right, so a lot of information, a lot of good stuff. Mike, I want to thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having us. Thanks.